Hey everybody, this is Cameron from Obnoxious and Anonymous, and welcome to the Twin Peaks Thought of the Day for Friday, July 14th, 2017. My guests today are Frank. How's it going?
Hi Cameron, it's nice to be back. Looking forward to talking.
Well, it's nice to be able to do one of these live streams early.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
And my other guest today is Alice. She's a long-time lurker and stalker of this channel, and I thought it was about time that she came on one of these podcasts.
Hello, my cherry pies.
Hello, my little donut.
So it's
now the niceties are out of the way, Albert.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's been a number of days since episode 9 premiered. What were your guys' initial reactions to episode 9? What do you think of it? Your overall impressions?
You go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Right, it seemed to me it was a bit like episode. Where are we? Is it 7? I think I'm right in saying where it kind of felt a little bit more traditional in its structure. It was very linear, yeah, and they visited Twin Peaks an awful lot, similar to the other story I'm talking about. But, I think for many fans, they were thinking we really do need a kind of like reprieve from episode 8. Maybe we should get back to something traditional. I mean, I loved it.
But don't you think it?
No.
I mean, episode 8 is the pause episode. We went, it's like 7 stops, and then we pause. We go back for a flashback episode, and then we come back for episode 9. I mean, that's just basically. I mean, if you look at it from storytelling, that's what it is.
It did seem like an actual kind of like break or intermission, if you like, between the two. That Lynch wanted to tell this story at that point. And then move on, go back to the sort of more traditional sort of. But
I'm seeing people online discuss episode 9 as if it was like a disappointment, and I'm like, a disappointment? We got a lot of information. I mean, we got just as much information as we did with episode 7 and episode 8 in different ways, and people are like, yeah, we get a lot of information, but it seems like a placeholder until something actually interesting happens. And I'm like, there was a ton of interesting things that happened in episode 9. So apparently we all have different ideas of what interesting is in terms of Twin Peaks. But I thought it delivered on a lot of things, and it answered a lot of things, in my opinion. And it suggested a lot of other aspects, like the idea of if Major Briggs can move back and forth in time like we all assumed he could, then that probably points the way towards how the diary pages ended up in the bathroom stall.
Yeah.
So, Alice, what did you think of episode 9? Were you one of these disappointed fans?
No, simply because I believe most people nowadays have big expectations, and this is why they get disappointed when they don't get whatever they want or expect, and they are the problem. if you are looking for a problem, so the expectations of the majority, the expectations are the problem. I don't see or watch the show as you probably do, because I don't know how you do this, Cameron, after each episode to sit down for 1 or 2 or even 3 hours and talk about all of this, and on daily basis. I don't have anybody to even mention the name of Twin Peaks. This is, you can absolutely forget about any.
Alice, if you notice, I'm never on camera with somebody next to me. It's always somebody else that lives other places, because very few of us have people to discuss Twin Peaks with in the same room. So
yes,
so I talk to people from all over the world, because that's how we have to find each other.
I think you remember saying, Cameron.
That's my point. But when you get this opportunity, or you create this opportunity here on your channel, then conversation happens. It happens, and I'm always the lurker, you know, the listener, and I couldn't do what you do because I watched the show from a different perspective as anybody else seems to watch. I see each and every scene, not episode, each and every scene as a part of big chaos. There is silent chaos and loud chaos. And the 8th episode was like a punch in your face into all this chaos. And not a pause. It was a fucking boom, literally. So I don't see it as a pause. This was just a punch in your face in all of this chaos, the loudness and the silence. And I couldn't find anything to talk about as you do. This is what I mean, because I need to see all of it to be able to come up with something, as I have been for the past 25 years. I couldn't talk about anything on Twin Peaks, on the old one, because I always knew we are not done. We are not finished here. That can't be all of it. I knew it. I knew it. So I always worked through everything what touched me on Twin Peaks, expressing it through my art for the past 27 years already. Oh my God, I'm so old. I know that people never understood my art because they never understood Twin Peaks. And I learned that just now after 27 years. So here we come back to the disappointment, this part with the disappointment. Maybe I always had too big, too huge expectations from people when I introduced them to Twin Peaks, and I didn't get anything back. So now I understand the show wasn't the problem. I wasn't the problem. My excitement wasn't the problem. It's the people, this new generation of people. They are used to so many great, intense shows, but the intensity is always, you know, how fast do you get informations and how fast do things happen on shows, and everything needs to be fast.
Yeah,
it's just a cultural thing, I believe. Same with, you know, with social media. When you send a message, you expect fast and quick answer. If you don't get it, you are pissed off, whatever. This is how people are these days, and this is how they respond to intelligent shows as Twin Peaks. This is what I believe. I truly believe this, because this is just my observations, my personal observations, and I believe this. It doesn't mean that it's true because of what is, but I believe it's same with Twin Peaks. The expectations are not big, but people are used to, let's say, flat shows, flat stories, and everything needs to move quickly, and Twin Peaks is anything but flat. So, you know, Twin Peaks is for Twin Peaks people and other shows are for other people. This is what I would like to add to this topic in general.
Well, when I say pause, I don't mean that. I mean, obviously there is sort of
a storyline.
Just in the current storyline,
yes,
it paused. Yes. So to, you know, it wasn't like the story paused, because obviously we're getting a download of information in part 8. I just mean like all the stuff having to deal with Laura's diary and that type of thing stopped for an hour or so. But yeah, no, I agree. I mean, people are I mean, people were saying in episode 6 that they were tired of the Dougie storyline. Now we're in episode 9, and we haven't resolved it yet. Now I'm seeing people online getting worried that any of this story is not going to be resolved by episode 18 because of how slow the story is progressing.
Maybe.
So I would just say, just don't get your hopes up. I mean, Kyle MacLachlan has said that we will be rewarded for everything, and a lot of things will end up paying off. But again, he doesn't say when it's going to be paid off. It might be paid off in the last 20 minutes of episode 18.
Yes.
We don't know.
Yeah.
And I agree with you, Alice, when you say how do we talk about this? Because that was a big thing that I had to kind of grapple with. Is you can't really judge this show at all until it's over, and probably a month or so after, when you kind of have let the whole thing digest inside you and look back upon it. However, I didn't want to just pause the Twin Peaks conversations until mid-September. and then I wanted us as fans to be able to go through this journey together. So
yes, and I'm very, very grateful for this. Seriously, Cameron, you're so amazing. There are so many crappy podcasts these days, and they started like 2 years ago, just after the announcement of the new Twin Peaks, and all this. I don't know. This is just crap. Seriously, I have listened to all of them, and English language and American and German and Polish podcasts, and most of them are crap, except for the old school ones. But this is just my taste. For just as for my personal taste, you are like the neighbor next door, and this is what I love about it. I really love your show. It's not even a show, it's just a talk, and I love it and I appreciate it, and it's not different from the others, but you are different. You are like the neighbor next door, and this makes the difference.
I think what makes the difference, in terms of, if I can throw out my 2 cents about it, is one thing I talked about before this new series came out was that there was going to be an influx of David Lynch and Twin Peaks inspired channels. And there'd be a tremendous amount of articles, and that people as fans were going to have to sift through and find which channels or videos are the best, because you can tell, as longtime David Lynch fans, who are the people trying to just capitalize on this Twin Peaks phenomenon happening now, and who are the hardcore fans who know what they're talking about.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it doesn't take long. I would say it takes about 25 seconds before you know who you're listening to. And what's interesting is that we're this Sunday. There's been all this conversation over the last few weeks about, well, Twin Peaks isn't doing very well on Showtime in terms of the live viewers, but it's doing very well in terms of the streaming.
Yeah.
Well, this Sunday it's going to be really put to the test, and I have a feeling that Twin Peaks every week has been taking kind of a nosedive further down in terms of the ratings with live viewers, but obviously the streaming numbers are high up there. But this Sunday at 6 p.m., at least where I live, Twin Peaks episode 10, titled "Laura is the One," is going to go head to head against Game of Thrones season 7 episode 1 at the same time.
I don't care.
No, I know. But what I'm saying though is that it's going to be interesting to see how many of the live viewers care more about Game of Thrones than Twin Peaks, because I have a feeling it's just the live numbers are just going to drop huge, and then the streaming numbers are obviously going to be fine. But I'm just so happy that Lynch and Frost shot this whole thing at one time, because with these numbers plummeting the way they are, Showtime would then be able to step in and say, can you do this? Can you tweak that? they just shot it all at one time. They don't have to worry about it. We're fine. We don't have to worry about any network interference. So that's the good thing here. But yeah, I mean, you know, and I'm not trying to you know, call attention to anyone's particular podcasts or videos or stuff like that. But I think there are good channels out there. There are good videos being made, but they're few and far between. And hopefully by now, by the end of episode 9, people have found the channels and the people they decide to gravitate towards. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying all those kind of things, Alice. It really means a lot.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Are there many Game of Thrones and Twin Peaks fans that like both? Have you ever had any kind of inkling about that? Or
I never heard of them.
I was just curious whether they could actually like both. And they're going to like have a head fuck and think, what am I going to do at 6 o'clock? Record one, watch the other one live.
I remember, well, there was a similar thing that happened, I don't know, a long time ago now, where I remember asking some friends, okay, which one do you want to see more? Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, or Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith? Which one would you watch first if they both got dropped in your lap? And most people told me Star Wars just because they had lived with it longer.
Yeah.
So
that's an age thing.
Yeah.
Generational thing, that is. Yeah. Some might say the Phantom Menace.
All right. Well, let's get to some of these news stories before we discuss episode 9 in any sort of detail here. Matthew Lillard got a really nice article written up about him in Vanity Fair about his experience shooting the new series. He, I guess, told his wife not to expect him to be in the series until around part 12. And then he said he was surprised that he showed up in part 1. So maybe does that give us a clue, even though he himself doesn't know? Does that perhaps give us a clue as to the timeline continuity? Because some people are saying, "Oh, is this timeline happening at the same time as the Truman and Hawk stuff, or is it a few weeks before? Is it a few weeks after?" Some people are trying to figure out: did he write 920? Did he write 929? You know, the fact that his blog hasn't been updated since November 2015. So it is interesting. I don't think he knows, but it kind of just planted that in my head of what is the timeline, and I'm pretty sure it's the same timeline, but it is interesting. Another thing that he says in the article is that he's never seen the original series.
Oh.
I mean, I guess his role doesn't dictate that he has to see the original series, but he got a copy of his scene, his lines. I guess the big interrogation scene that we saw in this last episode where Tammy Preston's talking to him. Apparently that was his first day on the set and her first day as Tammy Preston. So she hadn't even shot any of the other stuff that we have seen so far. That was their first scene on camera together. And I guess that David Lynch wouldn't tell Matthew Lillard anything. And he went up to Mark Frost and asked him about the context of the scene. Mark Frost wouldn't tell him anything except about the information that he's referring to in terms of his blog and his relationship with Ruth. Wow, that was weird. Oh, you didn't hear that? Okay, good. Some commercial started playing online. It was bizarre. Some car commercial. Anyway, so Mark Frost kind of gave him a teeny little bit of information just so that he would have a little bit to draw from. But the cool thing is that I didn't even know about this article, but last night I saw that Matthew Lillard was online on Twitter, and so I tweeted him out something saying, "Hey, big fan of yours for a long time, ever since Serial Mom and Scream and SLC Punk and all that. But just want to let you know you're killing it in this new series of Twin Peaks. You know it, but good job. Congrats, man." And he very much liked that tweet, so that was good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. What do you guys think of Matthew Lillard in this series? I know people liked him in episode 1, but I think episode 9 he kind of took it to a new level.
He did. Must have been a tricky one for him because it's a very, very hard scene. I think he did. Is it right? He did it in 2 takes or something?
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah, which is pretty incredible when you think about it, because that's full on, that scene. It goes on for what? Must be 5 minutes or something.
It's a long
Maybe
scene,
more,
and it's a tightrope act because it's a you know, he's having basically it's a confession / nervous breakdown that begins very sincerely and then transcends into dark comedy when it goes into the Bahamas and scuba diving.
Yeah,
and to nail that pretty much in, you know, probably in all honesty, most of that is one take, and they probably did a second take just as, you know, backup.
But to be honest, I think if we were in that situation, locked up like that, the fear, the desperation, being trapped, we probably say things like that.
But the scary thing is that
that's the thing. It connects.
He's confessing all this stuff about his blog and Ruth and being held down by 3 guys and going into the lodge and meeting Major Briggs and his head coming off, and it was beautiful and all this. He is so lucky he is talking to who he's talking to. Because if it was anybody else but Gordon and Albert and, you know, even if Tammy had been there by herself, that would have been a huge mistake to say all of that stuff that, I mean, basically would get him committed into an insane asylum for the rest of his life. But the fact that he dropped Cooper's name, now he has a chance of actually getting out of there. But it is kind of concerning that his blog has not been updated since November. And so if this takes place in September of that year, then what happened to him that he's not posting anymore? So
I'm trying to think about those dates. If that's the same timeline as what's going on in the rest of the Twin Peaks world, the last one was the last episode when
well, because
the date at the Jack's Palace was the 10th, you know,
yeah, but I'm saying that Hawk and Truman are talking about October 1st, October 2nd, and that being a couple days from now. So that would put them at 9/29.
It would, yeah.
So I think it is the same timeline, but there's people online that swear that all the stuff in South Dakota take place a couple weeks before all that. So
it's an odd one. It's still difficult to work that out.
Well, I think it's people are going to have, you know, it's like we were discussing earlier about Rancho Rosa and what timeline that was and this, that. But once Ben Horn got the key, you know, it obviously that then puts it in the same timeline. So I think that people can theorize about all this stuff, and that's fantastic. But it's really going to help when we start seeing all these people or timelines converge so that we know exactly when everything takes place.
Yeah. It will fall into place, but it's a question of like reviewing it in the context, you know, after it's all finished, and then I think things will seem much more coherent, you know.
Right, and I also think that one of the problems is, well, it's not really a problem, but in terms of one of the confusions, is that so much of the editing is off kilter in itself, or scenes kind of come in and you know, in and out in a way that makes you question what timeline we're in, right? Like even in you know, in terms of like the Rancho Rosa stuff, right? Dougie's car blows up, and then looks like the next day that the police show up to look at the explosion or what happened to the car. And that's not, come on. I mean, we know the cops looked at it that day, but it just, in terms of the editing and where it places in the show, it makes you wonder, are we bouncing back and forth in time?
Yeah.
Alice, I want to ask you, since we know the Rancho Rosa Las Vegas stuff takes place at the same time as the Twin Peaks stuff, do you think that Dougie / Cooper is going to be able to just go to Twin Peaks, presumably? Let's say he just drives there. Is there a chance that he could become Cooper again just by doing that? Or do you think that he is going to have to go back through an outlet and pass through the Black Lodge again, or the Gray Lodge, or wherever that is, where the giant is, or fireman, or whatever we want to call him, do you think he's going to have to pass through all of that to basically come out of Glastonbury Grove?
Right now, I'm not even sure if there is any timeline to this, because have you seen my comment today? I mentioned the scene where Bobby Briggs' mother greets the guys in her house and starts talking that Major Briggs told her one day they will come and ask about Coop. And when the camera goes to her face while she's speaking, it's in real time. But when the camera points to Hawk, then Bobby, then Truman, it's actually backwards, like in the Black Lodge waiting room, whatever you call it. And it's played backwards. You can see it, how their eyes are blinking. You need to watch it carefully. And that totally threw me out of this whole topic with the timelines and everything. And there is still one thing on my mind from, I don't know which episode it was, third or fourth, I don't know, where Cooper, before he became Doggy, was going through the Black Lodges or whatever, the dimensions, first in the first room with this Asian woman without eyes, when she gives him her hand or touches him, whatever, however it starts, it goes forwards and backwards in seconds. You know, what you see, it's not flawless. Everything is going forwards and backwards each second, and this stuck in my mind. So maybe time or timeline doesn't exist, so it doesn't matter. So this is my answer to your question. It really doesn't matter. If I believe if Dagi has to go back through the same process as he came to this world or timeline, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. I even had the thought last night, what if Dagi, or what we believe the Cooper is in the Dagi, what if even this isn't true? What if all of this is just whatever, you know? What if Coop is still in the Black Lodge, the fourth Coop? I don't know.
Well, it is interesting because when Major Briggs comes to see Cooper in the original series with that Cooper, if you look, there is a fourth Cooper on that paper.
Yeah.
But he only says Cooper 3 times. So I made a video a few weeks ago talking about the 3 different Coopers. And then, of course, after Dougie is presumably gone, or at least the one that got pulled into the lodge, now there's 2. But and so that's what's on Major Briggs's paper. But there were 4 originally, and apparently Kyle MacLachlan has stated that he does play a 4th character in this series, but it's only for a short amount of time.
I never heard that.
Yeah, well, maybe this is the last episode.
Yeah, who? Yeah, I don't know.
Possibly.
Yeah, so I don't know. What do you think, Frank?
Wow.
I know anything's possible in this new series. I mean, before it began, we never thought we'd see Dale Cooper come out of an electrical outlet.
I think, and I'm not taking the mickey here when I say this, that I think he might have to go back the way he came in, because there's a clue that was left: his shoes.
Right.
And I'm not taking the mickey when I say that. I think they play a role in this. It's just too obvious the way they came off and they landed like that. I think he has to go back, put his shoes on. It brings back a memory, and he's complete once he's got his suit and his old shoes back on.
Wait. So you're saying that Audrey's high heels are not going to be the thing that wakes him up?
Yeah, he's not gonna click his red shoes together and go, "There's no place like home." Although there is a lot of Wizard of Oz references, there's no doubt about that. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
home. He has to go home. He's,
I don't believe this thing for one instance that Audrey is going to be the one to wake him up. After all, episode 10 is called Laura is the One.
But they might wrong foot us, and it might be someone else.
Yeah, but I would be shocked after these 9 episodes if we're basically still building to a Cooper Audrey love relationship. I don't think it's going to happen, folks. People need to just get over that. And every time there's a new episode that comes out, there's an obligatory article that gets published. Where is Audrey Horne? It's like, at this point, who cares? I mean, she's going to show up. We know she's going to show up. Is she going to show? Well, of course she's going to show up. She was in that Entertainment Weekly photo shoot.
We know that, but it's as in what sense and how
right.
and how much or how little.
I mean, she could just show up like Ronette Pulaski did in that scene with the blind Asian woman.
That's the case. I can understand why she was pissed off.
Well, she probably just shows up for Johnny Horne's funeral and then she's out.
I mean, take for example Nadine. I was really looking forward to see more from Nadine, but what did we see? Like 2 seconds while she's sitting there like watching like InfoWars and laughing her ass off.
She's a big fan of Dr. M.
Yeah. And so I mean, we are going to see. We are going to see more of Nadine. I mean, just the fact that how because of the exterior shooting they were doing in the town, obviously we're going to see more of her.
But also, we haven't seen Big Ed yet, so
we haven't seen him yet. Some people out there, of course, are theorizing that Dr. Jacoby as Dr. Amp that may play a factor in terms of the fact that we saw the woodsman making the radio announcement that maybe he'll get possessed and start saying strange things.
He's going to take over his podcast.
He's going to take over his podcast to make the whole town go to sleep.
Got late. Burn the cabin down or something.
Oh, and
you know what? I really, in the past, I never cared much for Benjamin Horne. No, not Benjamin. Jerry Horne. I never cared. He was an idiot. It's just whatever.
I hysterical. He's
even more hysterical now, he's one of my favorite characters. Seriously.
Yeah, he's great. Isn't he?
Yeah.
And they've given him quite a bit of screen time, even though in a way he has had quite a bit. But it's just mostly just wandering aimlessly around the woods.
Yeah, but I am a little nervous that he's gonna take his leg off like the one-armed man took his arm off.
Yeah, imagine like he's having this sort of like trip. I don't think he's tripping anymore. I mean, how long can that stuff last for?
Yeah, but he may bump into Truman and Hawk on the way to the lodge in a couple days. They may run into him out there. Another thing I want to see is I want to see Hawk and Truman show Bobby Briggs the diary pages, since they're kind of bringing him into this whole investigation, because I want to see Bobby go to the Double R and tell Norma about the fact that Annie is mentioned in the diary pages. I think that would be a cool little scene for Peggy Lipton to have, and maybe it would give us a chance to see Dana Ashbrook relate to Shelley, and maybe we can get a little bit of a read on that whole thing with Becky. You guys are talking about timelines, and I posted funny little video the other day on the Obnoxious Anonymous Facebook page and the Twin Peaks Worldwide Facebook page of the chromatics when they sing at the end of episode 2. That if you watch the editing of that scene of them singing, and then when they're singing over the end credits, Dwayne Dunham, the editor, repeats not the same shots, but the same editing pattern. So like he'll have a medium shot on the singer during certain lines, and then he'll punch into a close-up on certain lines, and then punch back to or pull out to a wide of the whole band for certain lines. And this repetition, this doubling, even in the end credits of episode 2, I mean, it just shows you that they have been playing these little mind tricks just in the editing, and it's amazing. And even if they're not consciously doing it, they're subconsciously doing it, and it's really showing. And it's they've been playing little trickeries with us with the editing throughout this entire series so far. But the fact that they would even think of doing that with, a Roadhouse singer, playing at the end of an episode, it's amazing. I just find it very, very cool.
It's like these things are really, and there's no doubt these are the accidents. No way are these accidents. Like and we're talking about time. Something's in flux here. Something's not right. We know something's off.
Well, come on. I mean, we've talked about the diner switching all the extras.
They're just flipping, like, it's just flipping every time you look at it. One angle to the other, there's different people.
And Norma is sitting in the booth, right, doing paperwork. Yeah. The same shot as when Becky comes in and asks for money from Shelley from an earlier episode. So they take a similar shot, but every time they cut back to the wide of the double R, Peggy Lipton is not in that booth.
Yeah.
And listen, I mean, this is a yes, it is a cable TV production, but David Lynch did not have a cable TV production schedule. He did not have to rush this thing. So for them to, it's not just a thing of cutting corners and trying to make shots work. It's deliberate.
It is.
It's like when Fire Walk With Me, I would have so many issues with little things here and there, and then you realize there's so many of those things, like those flip things, that again, it's not done because they were careless. It's all purposely chosen.
And it's also it's reinstated when you see Shelley's reaction.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, she looks and sort of shakes her head and then goes about her business, forgets, like it's just a quick memory. So something's off,
Right.
There's no doubt about it.
Well, even I got some flack the other day for calling out the puddle shot outside the Roadhouse that we've seen it, I believe 3 times. Twice we have the same foot walking through. Or and people have said to me, well, that's an establishing shot. I'm like, yeah, trees blowing, a traffic light swaying in the wind, those are establishing shots. The same foot going through a puddle, right? I mean, if Lynch wanted an establishing shot, he would have multiple people go through that puddle at different times. It's the same foot. Then the fact that we have Au revoir Simone playing at the end of episode 9, wearing the same clothes that they're wearing at the end of episode 4. But episode 4 was just a performance by them. Episode 9, it's the scene with Ella and Chloe intermixed with the performance.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a possibility that the ending performance of episode 4, is the same night as the ending of episode 9. Things are just moving forwards and backwards.
Yeah.
And I know we like to joke all the time, is it future, is it past? Which is really funny because that's a line from Fire Walk With Me, a cut out line from Fire Walk With Me that only exists in the missing pieces. And then it's used so prominentely in the early parts of this series. But that's kind of like the go-to line whenever people are confused about this and that and which way and which timeline. Is it future, is it past? It's quite a mind.
I would like to add
scramble.
here something. What you just said, I did mention maybe time doesn't really exist, but what you just said, I had these moments while watching. I must add that I always watched each and every episode twice, and then I let it go. I don't watch it again. Twice in a row, and that's it. Next, and I will watch all of it at one piece in September, October, whenever it's gonna be finished. But I believe this is not everything. What we see is not everything that exists. I think there are so many pieces cut out, and maybe we will get them in another 25 years on some another thing after Blu-ray.
Missing Pieces Part 2.
Yeah, I don't believe we get it all. I don't believe this.
Well, yeah, I mean, even some of those scenes with Jerry Horn, they feel like, were they in the script, or was Lynch and him already in the woods and he said, you know what, David, let's shoot a scene of you grabbing your foot. and we'll use we'll turn your voice into Freddie Jones and Wild at Heart, and we'll just with the I am not your foot. Yeah,
I mean, it's all, you need to see the context, but when you don't see all of it, then you are missing the context. And I truly believe there is more, and they are not showing us all of it. Not yet. They will, but not now. I'm quite sure.
I'm sure some bits will filter into Mark Frost's book, but they won't be I still don't think they'd be the biggie ones, because they want to show that. I should think they'd want to show it on screen.
I think the next few episodes, I know these episode titles haven't been the best in terms of predicting what's going to happen, but I think these next two episodes are going to be major, because like I said, episode 10 is Laura is the one, and episode 11 is called There's a Fire Where You Are Going. That sounds like a pretty major episode to me. and now we are past the midpoint. We're now in the back half of it. So we're now going to be coming down the mountain. And so hopefully there'll be, I don't care how it ends. I just want to feel like this is one hell of an ending.
Yeah.
I could care less how it ends.
I really don't know how they're going to tie up everything. I don't think
they're not going to. They're not going to. I mean, it feels like to me like there's the main storyline with Kyle, and then all the other pieces are just little vignettes. We're not going to get a full character arc for Benjamin Horne, probably, or I'm guessing at this point. I just think he's like, you know what, let's just drop in and see what's going on with Johnny Horne here. He just happens to be running through the house wearing Cooper's pajamas from the end of season 2 and bashes his head just like Cooper did. There's just little, I think we're just dropping in, we're not getting a big thing with Betty Briggs. We're coming in for a landing. We're getting a little scene with her and off we go. And it's just kind of nice to kind of just touch base. I mean, Lucy and Andy are getting quite a bit of screen time, which is interesting.
Hawk got a lot too.
Well, Hawk, I knew was going to have to, because he is. If you look at the original series, he is one of the main 4 characters that I felt were going to play a major role in getting Cooper out, or him, Major Briggs, the Log Lady, and Ronette Pulaski. Well,
and now we see from the Log Lady, when she phoned him up, he is going to play a part. He's found the area at the end of the sycamore tree. So that's got to come into place. And
I just love the fact that Frank Truman is not questioning him on any of this. He's just like, okay, we're going to move forward. We're going to figure this out. Yeah. So that's great. But we haven't gotten anything more about Andy trying to find Richard Horne's truck. You remember he was supposed to meet that guy at 4:30, I think it was. And the guy never showed up. So we don't have a follow-up to that yet. Hopefully that will come up. I mean, we need to pay off all the stuff with Deputy Chad. I want to see Bobby Briggs take him out. But then again, Bobby Briggs also probably is going to have to repent a little bit for killing the Mountie and Fire Walk with Me. I think that's going to come back up somehow. It might not, but I would be shocked if it didn't get mentioned.
Hold on. What was that? Did you just mention the on Fire Walk with Me, Bobby killing the guy when he was drunk with Laura in the woods.
Yeah,
this is the first time. Seriously, this was my only reason why I always wanted to talk to you live here, because to me, nobody ever mentioned this. What I was wondering for the past 25 years, and now we are here at this point, what I was wondering was, I mean, he was like, what, 16 years young? One night he's out with Laura, taking I don't know what, and drinking and killing a guy, and next day or 2 days later he's at high school. The police is coming to announce Laura was killed, and when was the last time he saw her? The moment he walks into the office in his high school, before he knows what is going on, he doesn't seem like a person who just killed a guy in the woods 2 nights ago. And this was the only thing that was bothering me for the past 25 years. How can it be that a 16 years young guy doesn't show any emotion about a murder whatsoever and keeps going on with his high school life 2 days later? This is so weird. Why doesn't anybody talk about it? This is not normal. So maybe even then.
You're talking about in the series when he went into to see the governor. Is that what you're talking about? Are you talking about when he went? Are you talking about the TV series when they called him in and said,
Yes. Yeah. And Fire Walk with Me happened 7 days before.
Yeah, but that wouldn't have been written then. That was in Fire Walk with Me when he did the killing.
Yes, but that happened 7 days before.
We have full knowledge of that storyline in the series, so it wouldn't have been addressed, would it?
Like when he walks into the high school, right?
Backwards. He goes into the room.
He should be a little bit nervous that he's getting pulled into the to be interrogated by the police.
Excuse me, sir, both of you. You both just said there are no accidents on Twin Peaks. So come on.
It depends when it was written a year later. That's the problem. Or 2 years later.
Well. Yeah, and let me just correct myself. I said he killed the Mountie. He killed the police officer from Deer Meadow. He looks so like the Mountie in the original series that comes down with Clarence Thomas III.
Wasn't his name Mike?
Is it the same actor? Is it the same actor? No?
It's not the same actor, no. But they look very alike. Well, the problem is, is that in the pilot, which they used as the basis to write Fire Walk with Me, they have the line where James tells Donna, Laura told me Bobby killed someone.
Yes.
Right? So Lynch felt like he needed to pay that off. The thing is that I, as a fan of the series, this is before the movie came out, I had always believed that James had mistaken Laura and that he was referring to the fact that Laura had told him that Bob had killed Teresa Banks. That she was aware that Bob had killed somebody, but he thought she was referring to Bobby. So I thought that was something that he had misunderstood and told Donna.
Okay.
Right. That's how I always took it. Then Fire Walk with Me comes out and says, no, Bobby killed somebody. Okay. So that's all right. So that's now canon. Okay. But I don't think Mark Frost was too happy with that.
Who just killed someone.
It's so fucked up, really. We're talking about timelines. We don't know where we are, do we? God.
I'm telling you, time doesn't exist. It's just many different dimensions. Same as the scene with Shelley, where each and every second people sit somewhere else and in some other booths and seats. Maybe all of this is happening at the same time, but in different dimensions, and we see all of them within a few seconds.
I've got a feeling all this is happening just because of what's happening with that. I think it's caused some kind of rip, that started with the explosion in 1945 or whatever it is. Although apparently in the book, the Lost inhabitants have been around a lot longer than that.
Well,
Twin.
I don't think that the atom bomb created the lodges. I think it opened the rift, the intercourse between the two worlds, and allowed them to come in. I don't think Cooper going into the Black Lodge started this whole time displacement. I think it was the doppelganger creating Dougie and all of that just over 25 years.
It's caused some kind of shift, or it's caused some chaos in some way in the timelines, you know. And until it's corrected, I don't think they'll get back into the normal swing, you know.
Right. We have someone in the chat that says that Bobby, nothing's going to happen with Bobby because the killing of the police officer was in self-defense. Yes, because we were there, but the only person who would be able to testify is Laura, and she's dead.
Maybe.
Allegedly. Not quite clear on that.
No,
I'm alive.
I firmly believe that she will be alive at the end of this series. Either that or Lynch will pull a fast joke and kill her off again after she comes back alive.
Not true enough. God help her.
I know. I mean,
yes.
But
you know what? Because when it comes to persons, there is always another one, and we call it doppelganger. But also, events are repeating themselves, and there are kind of doppelgangers of the events, and towns and names and all of it. Everything is happening twice or existing twice at least.
But we already got that in the original series when Madeline herself was killed. And if the Grey Lodge, or whatever you want to call it, if that was them creating Laura, let's just say, and sending that to Earth like Superman, that how is it possible that she is created and then Madeline has the same features? Does that mean Madeline was a manufactured person?
I don't believe this. No, I think Madeline is just Madeline, a person for herself.
Well, no, I agree. I agree that too. But I'm just saying, if Laura was created by this kind of alien entity, then
which one? Here I go, like Lucy. Which one? Which Laura was created? Which one?
With when it comes out of the giant's head, and then Senorita Dido gets it, and then they send it through the fallopian tubes of
through the tube,
and then they send it through the movie screen and off the planet Earth. So
yeah, but when did this happen, and when did she arrive? That's another question. Yeah.
Well, some people have said that they don't even feel like that was in the 40s. They think that's modern day, and that they're sending Laura back to Earth. And
but they're very much dressed, and the music with the little horn gramophone thing is very reminiscent of like 1920s, 30s music more than.
Yeah, but
it's more that era to me.
I don't think they're going to be rocking out to Nine Inch Nails, or excuse me, the Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah, get it right. Yeah.
But I mean, so maybe, and this is a wild theory out there, but maybe it's not going to come down to Cooper versus Doppelganger Cooper. Maybe this is going to come down to Laura versus Bob, and maybe Laura gets to kick Bob's ass.
No, it won't be a fight. It won't be a fight in a conventional sense. That's for sure.
No, it's not going to be.
Like laser beams, they might be zapping.
It's not going to be Ben Kenobi versus Anakin on the volcano, where Laura's like, "Don't do it, Bob. I've got the high ground."
One's going to fall in the ocean off the top of that castle,
Yeah, exactly.
I would like to
the end of Lord of the Rings, where Bob grabs onto the owl cave ring and falls into the lava. Go ahead, Alice.
I would like to point something out. The scene with the gramophone and the slow 40s music, this actually reminded me very much of, I don't know if you know this band, it's called Dale Cooper Quartet and the Dictaphones. The music, you need to check it out, because it sounds exactly like this music in the scene. It's like from the movie Shining. There was it plays around the same time, and the music sounds very
Like the ballroom
familiar,
music, yeah.
and you believe you know this music. It's the same with Shining, and this is how the music sounded like. And you really need to check this band out. I own each and every album of this project, Dale Cooper Quartet and the Dictaphones.
Look them up,
This is exactly how it sounds like, and I know that you also know many artists have been influenced by Twin Peaks, not specifically by David Lynch, but by Twin Peaks, and there are so many fantastic artists and musicians with names and titles such as this, and maybe this was just, you know, a little trick by David Lynch saying thank you to such bands like this, and maybe this has nothing to do with the story at all. So as you mentioned, you mentioned this explosion thing. You mentioned the movie. What is the movie? The Kubrick movie, 2001
Dr.
Odyssey.
Strangelove?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, well, Dr. Strangelove had the atom bomb, but 2001 had similar music that they were using. Yeah.
Yeah, with the vortex and
exactly.
stuff. Yeah.
I have never seen this movie before until you mentioned it. I always thought I did, but I didn't see this. So I had to rewatch it now to remember this, because it's so long ago. I must have been a child, so I don't even remember watching this. And maybe this is just a fun by David Lynch, and maybe this has no meaning, because it happened just like this instantly. I thought of this Dale Cooper Quartet band when I saw the black and white, the gramophone, and the woman, how she was dressed, and it was just like Shining and this band. Maybe it has nothing to say at all, and it's just David Lynch, and we shouldn't care about it at all, because when you look back at his work in general, you see these little things and tricks and stuff, and even you pointed it out throughout all of your podcasts or video streams here, from what I remember. And maybe it has nothing to do with anything, or possibly we get another black and white episode just from this strange room with a giant, because I really don't believe that this is everything from this. I don't know, what is it, another planet, or you can call it whatever you want. We don't have many words to describe the things we see.
It's called House Atreides.
Yes, I don't know, UFO, whatever.
It's very difficult to understand where it is, because the outside of it has color, but the inside is black and white.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
It's got a purple on the outside. It's, you know, the sky. But when you get inside, they're black and white. Everything's black and white. It's very, very strange how they've.
Yeah, maybe it's not even a place. Maybe it's just a state.
Right.
It could be that. It could, oh God, I really don't know.
All right. Well, let me ask you guys some questions here. So the doppelganger sends a text in lowercase letters, right? When Diane receives the text, it's all in uppercase letters. So obviously he sent it to somebody who then forwarded it along or changed it up. But when Diane opens up the text message and the camera pushes in on her, Lynch uses Wyndham Earle's theme as she's reading. Now, since there's so little Badalamenti music used in the series so far, except this last episode had, I believe, four tracks of his in it, even though he's only credited for one of them in the end credits, which I find odd considering that Cheryl Lee is credited every episode for that opening picture. Why do you think he's using the Deer Meadow music for when the cops are trying to get Ike the Spike? And why do you think he's using the Wyndham Earl music underneath Diane receiving the text? Is that supposed to be just like, well, that's just music he liked and it fits the scene? Because if that's true, I mean, there's a guy on YouTube that recuts, just for fun, recut scenes from this new series using the original Twin Peaks music. I think it's Chris Holland's channel. And he shows that Lynch could use a lot of this music throughout this new series, but chooses not to. So he's purposely using this music in places where he hasn't so far in the series. And peculiar music. I mean, for Diane to open up a text message and playing the Wyndham Earl music, that's not just that doesn't feel like to me like, oh, Lynch just liked this music, so he's just going to put it in there. Because Diane's character would have known Wyndham Earl, right? I mean, he was Cooper's partner. So for her to, I mean, well, for us to hear that music while she's reading this text, does that suggest that the doppelganger has some of Wyndham Earl in him? Like, for instance, if you go to the final episode of season 2, Wyndham Earl's soul gets pulled out, and then only at that moment does the doppelganger show up. Now, yes, the doppelganger is its own entity, but is it possible the Lodge used some of Earl's soul to infuse it with Cooper's, to give Cooper maybe a little bit extra badness inside him?
Possible.
So, I mean, do you think Wyndham Earl is going to still play a role in this new series, even in a small form?
Do you think that looking at it from another angle, it's just come to me that when she's looking at that text and is playing that Wyndham Earl thing, do you think that might be the music might be undercutting a memory of Earl? And that's why the sting comes in, the music comes in. She might be remembering something. Maybe there's more to that text than just like a cryptic thing. Maybe there was a time when Cooper and Earl and her actually did sit around the dinner table or something like that.
Well, they obviously spent a lot of time together because Earl and Cooper were playing chess a lot.
Yeah.
And that,
so maybe she might be remembering Earl in that period of time, perhaps. I don't know. I mean,
or that may be a phrase that Earl used to use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it might mean something completely different, but that's just something that came to me,
There's people in the chat saying, well, it could just be music that Lynch and Dwayne Dunham liked. Yeah, that's possible. But if that was true, then they would be peppering this entire series with all that type of music. They're specifically choosing certain music for certain scenes. And episode 9 has 4 of them when the other episodes didn't. So that may be that we're moving closer to Twin Peaks, because some people have theorized that as we get closer to the show coming together, there'll be more and more music coming into the show. But it's interesting, at least.
Yeah.
I believe the Deer Meadow track and all of this was specifically used here because we have been watching Cop Work. And remember on Fire Walk With Me, when this track was played, we saw Cop Work. So I wouldn't, it's just me, I don't pay so much attention and then put so much meaning into this. Not yet. It's well, to me, it's too early.
We can't say for sure. We're just theorizing. Yeah. We're just spitballing ideas.
At this point, without seeing it in context, I think that I can only say at this point, I think that Deer Meadow was just used because it fitted the scene, the mood, the pace.
Yeah.
It had a kind of like sort of an action, a slightly action kind of beat to it. Not that much, but not like also, My Advice or something, but
But it also is. Buckhorn, South Dakota is not Twin Peaks, right?
No.
Deer Meadow is not Twin Peaks. So it's
but there are cops too.
No, I understand that. But what I'm saying though is I think it's interesting that Lynch is using music in the other towns that is similar, but he's not using that music in Twin Peaks proper.
Because everything happens twice.
Exactly. Okay, so let me throw this out there. we talk about how things are done on purpose here. Why do you think? Because they easily could have shot around it. Why do you think that Lynch positioned the camera in such a way outside the sheriff's station when Bobby's breaking that little metal thing that we saw the sawmill right across the street?
I have the answer to this.
Okay.
It's always been there. We just never saw it before.
Yes, this is the truth, but also I have an answer to that.
Okay.
Because he wanted to fuck with our minds.
Yeah, let's put the sawmill in and fuck people up.
Also, you mentioned,
I think that's ridiculous though, because that means at the end of season 1, when the sawmill's on fire, when they're looking for Leo Johnson, they could have just walked across the street and found him tying up shouting.
Call the sheriff's department for help.
And the sawmill is supposed to be near where Josie Packard lives.
Yeah.
Right? So the sheriff obviously doesn't need to drive his truck over to Josie's house like he does numerous times if she lives directly across the street from him, from where he works.
But then again, which one? Which Josie?
She didn't have a doppelganger.
But maybe I wanted to add something about the message, the text message you just mentioned. So Diane got it in caps, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But look at the phone, the Mr. C or Bad Coop is typing. It looks like this little shitty Hello Kitty thing. And the one that Diane holds in her hand is obviously at least an iPhone 5. From what I could see, and actually you can change your options so you read everything in caps on your phone. So
So you're saying because Diane talks in bold exclamation marks all the time that she receives her texts in bold exclamation marks?
No, I mean there is an option. There is an option on smartphones where you can change everything, all text, and in caps. You see and type all in caps.
I mean, you might be messing with us again, like you did with the shovels, and all she did was put settings on caps, and that's it.
No, I guarantee you that Nadine will end up killing Ed and Norma with one of those shovels.
With one shovel.
And an iPhone 5.
But, you know, I mean, a lot of people at the beginning, I remember the series, we were discussing timelines, and a lot of people said, well, you know, look at the Blackberries being used and that type of thing. Well, again, of course, it comes out that Blackberries are constantly being used by people who are into nefarious business because they're harder to hack into. Even the doppelgangers using, like, flip phones and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, one thing going around is the fact that the doppelganger was shot twice, but his shirt only has one bullet hole in it, and he only shows Jennifer Jason Leigh one shot. So, where do you think that other bullet went?
Another Mr. C, the fourth one. Yeah, we don't know which one we actually see. Maybe. I mean, it's an option.
That's why he was smiling. He should when they pulled out Bob's little bubble, he should have spit out a bullet like at a you know,
still
like
not clear
one of those westerns.
I'm still not clear if Bob's still inside him. I still can't make out whether he got out or is still inside Bad Coop. You know, with the head that was in his belly. Bob, I don't know if he got out or not.
I think he's gone.
I think all they did was repair Bad Coop, because it's exactly the same Bad Coop. You know, it's no different.
Right. Right, but the doppelganger existed in the Black Lodge before Bob had entered his body. So I think they went and retrieved Bob out, and now the doppelganger's by himself. Because for them to include that line in an episode or two earlier, "Are you still with me?" That seems to suggest that at some point Bob won't be with him anymore. So that's just what I think. I mean, and until they show us otherwise. I don't know, but I like the fact that they just left him just a bloody mess and just let him walk the road like Beatrix Kiddo and Kill Bill, just walking the desert landscape.
He did look a bit rough, didn't he, when he was walking up that path?
Yeah. Yeah, right. And you know, and then you have Tim Roth there, which is great because he's not playing Philip Jeffries, which is a relief to a lot of people. And the fact that he's just so into this idea that the doppelganger is like having an affair with his wife, and when he takes a rain check for not being able to get on with Jennifer Jason Leigh, she gives him a bag of Cheetos. Like, here's your compensation prize. And you know, if you look at her motel room in episode 2, it's fantastic because it's just filled with Yahoo chocolate milk and Cheetos everywhere. It's like, what a nasty little woman just to be waiting in this motel room for the doppelganger to have sex with her, but in the meantime, she's got chocolate milk and Cheetos everywhere. You know, that's such a Lynch touch. It's absolutely perfect.
Great, isn't it? That's great.
Absolutely perfect. Let's see here. Trent Reznor did an interview with alternativenation.net, who, you know, I want to thank for they like to post our podcasts and stuff on there, so that's great. But he says that Twin Peaks with his band is the greatest TV episode ever. I think he's a little biased. A lot of people online were being snots by saying, yeah, it was a great episode, but the least best part was your performance. Like we like talking about everything else but that performance.
I'm not a fan of theirs, actually. I really, you know, I have to be honest with you, I'm not.
Well, even I remember my wife, when we were watching the episode, she was like going, all right, this is getting a little dull. Like they're playing the full performance here, but it seems like that performance is sort of the intermission before, you know, all the black and white stuff begins.
There's so much to say that it couldn't have fitted on the end, and you know.
Yeah, they maybe thought that they were gonna use a snippet of the footage, and then maybe it came in a little short, and so they were like, let's just play the whole song. Never mind that it's like 6 minutes long.
Well, because they're the biggest act on there, aren't they? They're the biggest well-known band.
Right. And I just love the fact that
they have to give them, you know.
Don't you think Trent insisted on it?
I don't know. I don't think he insists on anything with Lynch.
I don't think he would throw his weight like that around with Lynch. I don't think he would. It's not, you know. I know they're friends. I think, I don't know. I wouldn't say that. I don't know if they're close friends, but they're certainly friends because he's interviewed him before Lynch has. Because I think
they work together on Lost Highway.
And Reznor does TM as well, and they've done. You know, he's been on his Foundation videos and stuff. So, you know, that's how it. I'm sure that's how he got into it. Anyway.
I'm just impressed. What's his name? Jean-Michel Renaud was able to book him. I mean, I know they're supposed to be the Nine Inch Nails, but still, they look like a very popular band. Yeah, so
let's just say they were the tribute act.
This is actually genius. Yeah,
the 6-inch pins or something. Yeah.
Exactly. What did you guys think of all that like rash business going on? That David Cronenberg, sort of body horror stuff with Sky Fiera.
Yeah, and I'm surprised. I actually thought that she'd be doing a singing performance because she's known more as a singer. So I thought she'd appear in one of the music.
Well, maybe she still will. Maybe she'll get up there and act like Jennifer Jason Leigh in Georgia and start screaming Jackson Browne music for 8 minutes.
Performance art, like scratching her armpit all the time and stuff.
Well, it's very clear, right? Drugs are running rampant through this town. Nobody seems to notice because they got their sights set on this Black Lodge nonsense. So, and the cop that is in charge of it, Deputy Chad, is actually running the drugs with with Richard Horn and Red. Do we think that Red was just being silly and, kind of flirting with Shelley from across the roadhouse? Or do you think there is some sort of relationship there? Because she didn't seem kind of like, who are you? She seemed like it was like kind of a smile of recognition that she saw him across the bar. Yeah, and she does like her bad boys. Let's be honest.
She does. Yeah. I'm not certain that they'll go anywhere. That Fred yet. I don't know. Maybe it might not be that important to the whole thing. I don't know. It might just be just a gentle flirtation across the bar, like people do. But
yeah, I mean,
it could be the most important thing ever.
Well, are we gonna get a payoff to that teacher coming back to the double R and is will Heidi and Shelley actually buy her a pie? I want an answer to that question.
Yeah, there's so many things yet to be revealed. I'm sure there's going to be an awful lot more. We're going to be absolutely, inundated with it in the next few weeks.
Dan wants to know, what are the chances Krista Bell will get up on stage and do Falling? Yeah, we're going to karaoke night with Tammy Preston. Get up there. Get up there. Get up there, Tammy.
I think Julia Cruz has got the reserve spot for that. Yeah,
I think Julia Cruz is going to be the final performance.
I hope 18. So.
And I think it will be Falling that she'll do. I can't see it being a new track. I think because it's such a signature tune.
Right. Well, I mean,
she is confirmed. I think it would be that one.
I mean, she's confirmed to be in the show.
She's definitely done it. She's definitely recorded something.
Well, who knows? Maybe Lynch will throw us off too and not have her sing. Maybe she'll be doing something else. But
serving pints.
Yeah. People want to know, do we think Frank Silva Bob will show up in the series again? Oh yes, of course. They've shown his image 4 or 5 times already in 9 episodes, so you can pretty much guarantee that he's gonna be.
We featured quite heavily in episode 8. It was like 3 images and everything, wasn't there? About 3 times.
There was that. There was and
the belly one, the smiling one. That was
there was the image in the jail cell. So
the on the screen when the giant's looking, you see him again, and then you see him coming out of the experiment model's mouth, hurting along. So quite a bit of him. Yeah,
right. I got contacted earlier today about someone saying when in season 1, when Mike the One-Armed Man, they asked him about his tattoo, and he says it said "Mom." They were wondering, do you think that's, obviously this is a retrospect question, do you think they're going to tie that into the mother, the experiment?
It's very, very possible that. I wouldn't rule that one out. I would not rule it out.
Yeah.
Because the mother seems to be quite a big thing. Well, it was in episode 3 especially. You better go, mother's coming. That kind of thing. So it seems to tie into mother of creation. She is a female form, which an actress. It's an actress that's playing. Erica Enion is playing the model.
Right.
You can see the physical form of a woman. So it could be as you say. I think we mentioned this before. It could be the mother of creation. That kind of thing they're getting at.
Yeah, but hold on a second. You say it's obviously a woman. I guess you refer to the black glass box because the creature had breasts, but the Baphomet has breasts too, and I was looking at this occultist symbolic as well, and here we go. The Baphomet has breasts too. So what now? I mean, it looked very devilish. Thing in the black box, and we believe to know that whatever happened in this black box was happening with Coop and Ronette on the other side at the same time. You saw the thing on YouTube.
Yes.
Obviously.
The split thing. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, very good.
Yeah.
It does seem like on the bang on the door that is at tandem with the box.
Yeah, this is very devilish. This is very devilish. As I said, the portrait of Baphomet has breasts too, and this made me think. The first second I saw this thing on the screen, I remember watching this first long episode for the first time. I was so excited I had to stop and to pause every 10 minutes because just to process what I have seen for the past 10 minutes. And my second pause was actually the 21st minute of this first double episode. It was just few seconds before this thing appeared in the black box. And I was let's call it my favorite vulgar way. I was shitting my pants because like a week before this new Twin Peaks, I said, I bet it's gonna be satanic ufology about dark and black and whatever, antimatter and all this cosmic and satanic stuff. And as soon as it appeared, I was like, okay, bingo, I'm probably right. But then I wasn't, but then maybe I am, I don't know. And then I saw all of the pictures of the, let's say, devilish creatures such as Baphomet and Lucifer. They all have breasts in ancient pictures. And when you look at this skinny thing, mother, probably, maybe, it looks kind of like this devilish creature with breasts, but there is no face where you could say and tell 100% this is female or this thing is male or whatever. You just know it's a thing,
it's kind of
and it has breasts.
Kind of androgynous, isn't it?
Yeah, when it comes to symbology, this is like the mother, the one that feeds you.
Well, Katie TP says perhaps this series is heading in a direction where Bob and the mother are looking for each other. So it's going to be a touching reunion of sorts between mother and son. I was contacted the other day by 2 people. Get that right, 2 people, and they were not trolling. And they said that they hope that the billionaire that's funding this glass box project will be Lana Milford. And I just want to say that if that happens in this new series, you will see me puke Garmonbozia all over myself.
Right now, right. You could be onto something though. That, despite the fact that you're gonna be violently ill if that does happen.
Yes. Right? There will be black engine oil and cream corn spewing out of my mouth if Lana Milford says.
Brace yourself, Cameron, because it might come true.
No, it won't.
Right?
It'll be John Justice Wheeler before it's Lana Milford.
Now, in the book, in the secret history of Twin Peaks, right? In the book, it goes into a lot of history about Lana Milford, and it says that she had a flirtation with a suspiciously coiffed billionaire.
Oh, okay.
Who do you think that was?
I think that was just a Mark Frost joke, though.
Yeah.
But God knows, it could. Imagine if that's leading to something.
Well, then that will be the greatest moment in this video podcast history of me just violently puking cream corn all over this podcast. I hope you guys are ready because it's going to happen.
Count me in.
Yeah, I want to see that. Yeah. Dear God.
Oh my Lord. Okay.
You never know. Yeah. Things are happening.
I do want to say this though. On HollywoodReporter.com, they did a story called "Mid-Season Coffee Break Debate" about Twin Peaks. Basically, it's just 2 of the writers discussing the series. But one thing they say, I just want to bring it back to Dana Ashbrook real quick. This guy Hayner, he writes, "Seeing Bobby grow up is a true joy to this long-time Twin Peaks fan. The emotion Dana Ashbrook has brought to this character as an adult is remarkable, especially given the fact that his connections to characters that are no longer with us is what is funding, basically creating this emotion in us. He's referring to his father. He's referring to Laura Palmer. These are 2 characters that we haven't even seen in this new show. And yet just in his his acting, his eyes watering up, he's able to make us remember those actors and those characters from a series 25 plus years ago. That's a very hard, difficult thing to do. And he's done
a great job so far.
Right, and I think that
particularly in the last episode, it really shone.
I think him. I think Matthew Lillard, and I think Kyle MacLachlan so far are going to get huge boosts when it comes to getting like more acting roles. Because for a long time, Matthew Lillard has just been I mean, it's a good gig, but he's been doing the voice of Shaggy and all the Scooby-Doo stuff. This definitely has brought him back into people remembering him, before he started acting with Freddie Prinze Jr. and all those movies. Like in the 90s and stuff, he did a lot of quality work. I think Danny Ashbrook, he's been he's been bouncing around on TV shows for a while, but I think he might actually get like a co-lead in a show after people seeing his performance. And I think Kyle MacLachlan especially is going to get all kinds of offers. I don't think he's just going to be playing the abused husband and Desperate Housewives season 6 anymore.
Kyle's had a very healthy career.
Yes,
and he will afterwards. It never typecast him. It never affected his career. He's a role after role after role.
But I would say that after Twin Peaks was over, and then The Doors and all that, he hasn't really been given like lead roles since. He plays a good character, but he hasn't. There hasn't been a show or a movie that has been built around him.
Oh no.
Right.
No.
And this, I think, especially the fact that he's playing multiple variations of a character, I think that you will see maybe another show or a movie being created for him now, as opposed to just him showing up season 3.
I think he might do a lead in a movie. I think certainly, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, Kyle had for the past 20 years he has been playing roles. Now he has an opportunity, and what's the word? Oh, help me out here.
Options.
It's more than this. Wait.
I think a nice fat Emmy next year is going to
that would boost him. That would boost it right up. Yeah,
I know there's been a lot of people contacting me.
It's a challenge. Excuse me. It's a challenge.
Oh, yeah.
This now, it's a challenge. It's not just playing a role, another role, just another one, another series, another role. This is a challenge, and this is what an actor such as Kyle needs. He needs this to show us, and he does.
To demonstrate what his versatility,
right?
Because characters vastly different in this. It's amazing.
Well, I mean, like I said, I've enjoyed him in so many different things, but I will say since he stopped working with David Lynch, I don't feel like he's been challenged very much in the roles he's been given.
Exactly.
And I think that this is a role or a group of roles that allows him to show his strengths as an actor in a way he has not been able to do since Blue Velvet, The Hidden, and Twin Peaks and The Doors. I mean, that whole period is the best time of his creative life, it seemed, right? Yeah. I mean, you look at Sex and the City and Desperate Housewives and Portlandia and stuff. I mean, he's good in those roles, but
he has been great. Yeah,
but this you can see why when he got the script for this, that he said yes right away, because this was not him just reprising Dale Cooper, having some pie and drinking some coffee.
This is more,
This I would say that this is a. Listen, I adore him in the original Twin Peaks. He's like a hero to me. He's an absolute hero to me in that series. Yeah. But what Lynch and Frost are giving him to do in this new series is even more nuanced than he was able to do in the original series. Like this, I mean, because he's playing multiple roles.
Yeah.
He's got to play Cooper. He's got to play Dougie Cooper. He's got to play Dougie, and he's got to be, kind of this Frank Silva bravado doppelganger, and that's very hard to do, and he's managed to do it. Yeah. It's but anyway, a lot of people have contacted me in the last 24 hours saying this is BS. Twin Peaks didn't get any Emmy nominations. This is ridiculous. Guys, calm down, because this show wasn't even eligible for this year's Emmys. It's going to be next year.
They wouldn't even be thought about yet. They don't even go that. They don't do that. Looking for that far ahead, and it's not even finished yet. So
it's not even done yet. But is that being said, the cutoff date for the voting was a long time before Twin Peaks even started. So they can't count. That's why sometimes you'll see like the Golden Globes or Emmys, and you'll be like, why is this being nominated? Because this was like a year and a half ago. That's because that's just the way the
same with the Oscars. It's always the year before, isn't it? It's like, say, so 2016 films would not be, nominated until 2017 Oscars. It's always
right, right.
a
So
year on.
I don't know if it's gonna win a bunch of awards next year, but it will definitely be nominated in a group of. I would be personally shocked if Kyle did not get nominated for this.
At least nomination, didn't? Yeah, that's
I mean, I hope he wins, but I would be shocked if he didn't get nominated, and I think he will, just because of how much press not only the show has gotten, but just how much acclaim that he has gotten. I don't think it will go unnoticed.
I hope not.
No, I don't at all. And I think David Lynch and Mark Frost are going to win too. I think it's going to win Best Series. And I mean, yes, it has to stick the landing, but if you go by what we've seen so far, it's very impressive. But then again, people in Hollywood can be petty. They may look at it and be like, "Well, F this." He basically walked in and negotiated a way for him to just do whatever he wanted, and we don't get that option, so we're gonna stick it to the man.
I really hope the people that do this, is it public? Is it a public vote thing? Was that done by industry and professionals?
No, it's by industry.
That always worries me because in the past how they've not looked very favorably on Lynch's movies and works. He's always left field. He's not mainstream enough for him to be nominated. And this series, although we adore it, but for the mainstream audience, it's not been a huge hit. If you look at the huge, the whole scheme of things.
Yeah, but look, those specific...
that might affect it, in their eyes. Thinking, it's just like it's just a small niche, and it's not going to be taken seriously. I hope that isn't the case, but
yeah, but those you mean. With those nominations, they actually have no meaning because it's mostly mainstream, and Twin Peaks is not mainstream.
That's what
it's
I mean.
on the mainstream network.
That's my concern. That's my concern about it. That it might not
why
get,
is it your concern? Why is it a concern? I wouldn't. This sounds so negative. Please don't call it a concern. It's great. So yeah, we should.
I understand what you mean. It's nice to think that it's like, he's still, not quite part of Hollywood. He's he's outside of it a bit. I understand where you're coming from. I do. And it's like there's a good thing. There's good things. There's bad things.
I'm just interested as a longtime fan to see if I know it's going to get the nominations, and I'm just honestly, it's not so much like I think winning awards is everything, because I don't. But I do want to see Kyle MacLachlan rewarded for taking a risk.
He will be. He will be.
Well, he will be rewarded, even if it's not even an award. He'll be rewarded in terms of like more acting roles coming his way, and good acting roles, not just second and third banana roles. But I'm just curious, just as an interest, is will the Hollywood establishment like praise Lynch and Frost for pulling off one of the greatest takeovers of cable television in history, or will they turn their back on them because they managed to do something they couldn't do themselves?
Depends on the last episode.
Oh, you think it all comes down to them sticking the landing?
I think so.
So if it ends with Cooper not back as Cooper, but Cooper stuck in the 20s or 30s room with the giant, and that's the end of the series.
Then people will call all of it senseless, meaningless. This is what they will call it. Oh yeah, letting people and fans wait for 27 years, then screwing with them. Oh, here are new episodes, and at the end we are at the same point as we have been 27 years. It's also pointless. People like bitching around, but no matter how it ends, I'm sure Kyle and all of this and everybody will get nominated, but the winning This is the question of the winning. Will they get it or not?
That's the big one.
That's the question.
Yeah.
So okay, well let's bring it more to a personal level to kind of wrap this podcast up.
Yeah.
If the ending is something like that, now Kyle MacLachlan has said, "Don't worry, everybody. You know, things are going to come together." Blah 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 blah. But who knows what that actually means? But if it does end, where basically we're left with where we were at the beginning and Cooper's still stuck somewhere, which I don't think is going to happen, but let's just say it is that. Mm-hmm. Do the Twin Peaks fans, not the casual fans, the hardcore fans, do they turn on this show?
We will love it.
I can't see them doing that. I don't know.
No, but I mean, like, if they don't stick it, like, if they don't give us a satisfying ending, and in just terms of like, just even if it's, I don't care if it's happy or sad or whatever. If they don't do an ending that feels like an actual ending, if it's just kind of like, well, we're just in this perpetual loop, and we're just going around circular, ways forever. The golden circle, right? Yeah. But do you think online the fans turn on the show and be like, you know what, this was a waste of my time?
I don't believe it.
Well, I think if they're still watching it, I don't think it is.
Yeah.
What was that, Frank?
I mean, I think if they're still watching it now, it obviously isn't a waste of their time.
So you think it's basically,
I think going to see it through to the end.
This is a recreation of what happened with season 2, which is by this point only the hardcore of the hardcore are following the show, and when it's over, any casual fan is not even watching anymore.
It's hard to gauge, isn't it? Who's watching it and who isn't? We don't know who the biggest audience is.
I can tell you that if you look at the YouTube shows talking about the episodes, you will see a dwindling of the viewership numbers from week to week. And like, for instance, like when something like episode 8 or part 8 comes out, we all had an uptick on the views because everyone wanted to know what we made out of that thing. Right. But when you have like a standard episode like episode 9, which I love, but it is sort of like a more, like you said, in terms of Twin Peaks, a regular episode.
Yeah.
The views go down because there's not as much to interpret or discuss, perhaps. Even though I totally disagree.
I think the opposite.
Yeah. But people online, you can see it kind of fluctuate. And I mean, Twin Peaks is, what you were saying, Alice, it's a niche show for a niche audience, but that niche audience is so passionate and so in love with it that, there's hundreds of hours of podcast time being dedicated to each episode. I know. I mean, on this channel alone, we do at least 3 a week. We do the initial reactions, we do the watch along, and then we do a thought of the day that precedes the the next episode. So that's a lot of airtime for for a show. I mean, I don't do that for any other TV show.
I really believe the hardcore fans, as you called us or them or whatever, the hardcore fans appreciate every single episode, and they will appreciate and enjoy this season, this project for what it is, no matter what. I'm 100% sure. And the people who are still watching, let's say it's 50-50, the hardcore fans and the new fans. And when the new fans are dropping out and some of the hardcore fans as well, so be it. At the end, the hardcore fans will stick to this, will love it, enjoy it, will be grateful. And I think David Lynch wasn't lying when he told us that we will get rewarded for our time spending on all the show and the years. Yeah. But that's the point. You love it or you don't understand it. This is how I used to say.
Right. Alexander in the chat says, "What about you, Cameron? How will you react if you don't like the landing?" Honestly, right now, I don't really care what they do. I mean, the show has, like I've said many times, the show is giving me everything I wanted the show to be, but in a way that I never expected it. Like if someone said to me, "Plot out what you think this series would be," none of my ideas would be what they have presented to us. But yet everything they're doing is emotionally resonating with what I would want the show to go into.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I love. It's not hitting any of the beats that intellectually that I think it would have gone into, but emotionally it's hitting everything.
Yeah.
I just want to say this. The one thing that I'm really surprised about this new series is the amount of screen time that Al Strobel has in this show. I mean, he has more screen time in this series than he did in the entire original series.
I can't get enough of him anyway. Keep bringing back every episode. I love Al.
Exactly. I just want like a good ending, and if it is kind of a loop kind of thing, fine. I don't want that to happen. If it's kind of a closure, that's what I kind of want, is closure. I know Mark Frost's book may do a little bit of that as well, but I would like to feel like we came out of this journey in some way. But I do feel like if there is going to be an ending, I do think it's going to be a happy ending. I really do. Yeah. Me personally, I think that I know I'm wrong. But sometimes the things I say are right. I think that Laura Palmer will be alive at the end of this series, and I think Cooper will be back to being Cooper. And I think it's gonna it's not gonna negate it where Laura never died, but I think that she will be brought back. And I just think it's, if you know Lynch, if you know the way he looks at that character and Cheryl Lee and how he feels about Laura Palmer and everything, I can't see, like I've said before, I can't see this series ending like Mulholland Drive with Cooper, blowing his head off, being chased by, elderly people.
No, maybe not. But don't you think that in David Lynch's work you have a happy ending and love and happiness and the tragedy at the same time?
Sure.
But maybe Cooper will sacrifice himself so Laura can be back alive. So we will have this tragic about Coop and the happiness.
I just want to know, like, why they keep kissing each other.
Yeah.
I mean, I know it's kind of I get a little bit of feedback here, but it's every time Cooper and Laura are in a scene together, they're practically French kissing each other. So it's just.
And do you think we'll ever find out what she whispered in his ear this time round as well?
Yeah.
I don't know, but the way she screamed, it got lifted up and then it flew off. I was just
like, you shouldn't have said that. They could zap you out.
No, you shouldn't have said it at all.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Maybe she sacrificed herself when she was screaming and she was pulled out of this Black Lodge. Maybe she sacrificed herself, told him, whispered him into ear. Maybe she was sacrificed. Then he is back now, but he can't cope as Dougie. And maybe he will have to go back and sacrifice himself so Laura can be back.
It might go right round like that. Yeah. You could have a good point there, Alice. Yeah.
So,
possible.
All right, let's just be totally wrong here before we get off this podcast. All these titles that we get, they're said by somebody, and it usually ends up not being what we think, because a lot of us thought that This Is the Chair was going to refer to Linda and her, and the fact that they were talking about her chair. Great misdirection again by Lynch and Frost. Laura is the one. Is this going to be a title that really suggests what we hope to see in this episode in some way, or do you think it's going to be another throwaway line someone says?
Yes.
The second one. That's an ominous yes. Could it be like The Man Who Fell to Earth, Bowie? So we've got Laura falling to earth. It continues from 8. And she's hurtling like in a fireball, like a meteor down hits the earth, and then it causes a big crater. And Sorry, I don't even know where
Well, I
I'm
mean,
going with this.
when Cooper was falling through space, I mean, people, of course, thought about the line of Fire Walk with Me. If you were falling through space, would you go faster and faster?
Faster. Yeah.
I mean, Cooper has to find Laura. That's what Leland asked him to do in the Red Room.
Yeah.
But he can't. He can't
will
do
she
that.
Be like will she be one of those bugs, or will she be like Laura? You know, or what?
I don't know. She took off her face and showed the white light. So I mean, maybe.
So is she just a light? Is she just a consciousness? You know, just a light being.
Yeah.
Now,
well,
not physical. You know,
I mean, you have to ask yourself. You know, did that leaked TMZ footage that came out? Is that an actual scene, or did they purposely, shoot something to misdirect everybody online? So,
I mean, I haven't seen it. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's fine. It's probably a good thing. But I mean, Kyle is wearing the suit that we see him in all those trailers when he's driving the car and stuff like that. So I'm sure it will come up eventually, but I don't think it's going to be as crucial a scene as everyone assumes.
Are you sure this is a scene from the new episodes, or was it a scene from just the photo shoot?
No, it was from the new episodes.
Oh, okay.
It definitely looked like it was shot for it. Yeah, I think.
It was. Yeah, it was shot outside Laura's house.
Ah, I see.
So. Yeah. Anyway, so let me just see if there's any other questions here. Katrina says, I'm still trying to figure out why Cole could hear Shelley better than anyone else.
That's another weird one as well. Yeah.
The power of love.
Makes men, go all soppy and stuff.
Well, okay, the big question is, which young ingenue will David Lynch kiss in this series? Will he kiss Tammy Preston, or will he kiss Shelley again?
I think there's a lot of sexual tension between him and Diane, so they might have a moment.
That would be strange. But maybe this series will end not with Laura alive or Cooper sacrificing himself. Maybe it will end with Albert in the corner getting married
with the woman with the body.
Right, the coroner.
The coroner.
Yeah. She's the only one that can get Albert to smile.
Yeah.
I mean, within 5 minutes of that episode coming out, there were people online already shipping them together as a couple. So
they could have danced off to the sunset at the end.
Yeah. Someone else has remarked earlier that do you think Ike the Spike is Lynch's name for Michael J. Anderson?
I don't know.
The guy that would stab you in the back.
But David has got a dark sense of humor, so you never know. I mean, turning him into a tree. I mean, that I wonder if he's just having a real
that's hilarious
dig there.
That's like the ultimate troll, is to say, you know what, I could replace you with a tree and people would love it.
With a chewing gum head or something.
Exactly. Katrina says maybe Shelley will end up with James Hurley because he's so cool.
Yeah. Are we ever going to see him again?
Yes. Yes, she will.
You will, yeah.
Yes, she will.
I can't see it just being that moment. That would be ridiculous.
No, because they need to answer who that other kid was with the green glove. Was that his boyfriend from San Francisco that he came back with?
Who knows? Yeah, who knows?
Yeah. So no, he is going to come back. I don't know how or why, but James Marshall has said that he is playing an important role in this new series. Maybe not a big role, but an important role. And an important role does not mean he shows up at the Roadhouse and orders 2 beers.
What if he has been with Shelley in a relationship all along?
No, because he's staring at Jessica Zor from Gossip Girl and Piranha 3D.
So what?
Come on, he's done affairs before. It doesn't stop.
Yeah. That's it. Exactly. You know what? I actually made a list. Who slept with whom during Fire Walk with Me and the first 2 series, and almost everybody was cheating and lying except for Dale Cooper. What is his?
Well, Andrew Packer was dead, so Harry did not know that Josie.
Andrew Packard was a dirty businessman.
Right, but I'm saying that Harry didn't, he makes it very clear to Cooper that, Andrew died, a year ago. So not to make it sound fishy.
But Dale
Josie
Cooper
was sleeping at least with 3 guys, and before that, she was obviously a prostitute.
And in the original series, believe it or not, one of the original concepts to take the series further was that Cooper was going to have an affair with Josie. But they decided, because originally, before it was Josie, it was going to be Isabella Rossellini playing Giovanna Packard. And so they wanted another Blue Velvet Kyle MacLachlan with Isabella Rossellini. But they changed it to Josie. But they left in the line in the pilot where he's like, "Who's the babe?" And Harry goes, "That's one of the most beautiful women in the state."
Yeah, but it's only the people who were, let's call them pure, with pure heart. They either died or have been killed, or something bad happened to those people, those with the pure heart. But I always wondered about Laura and Teresa Banks. Did they both have a sexual thing somewhere on one night jacks in the past? Because there was something mentioned back in this diary, and I read this when I was 16. It's been ages ago. I don't really remember. Did even Laura Palmer had a thing with Teresa Banks and Ronette Pulaski in some sex group thing at One Night Jacks?
Well, they showed them in Fire Walk with Me, even sitting in the bed together.
Yeah,
it's entirely possible they had a history for
yeah.
that. Yeah.
And then there is one person I never liked. Yes, but he always has been cool. James, obviously. I never liked him. And
I'm going to shut down this James hatred right now. This is
no, because I made my list like 20 years ago, and first he was, acting like this James Dean character, but so nice, and the crybaby, like Johnny Depp, crybaby, this nice guy with a bike, and let's call it for what it is. He was doing the homecoming queen, who was actually a prostitute, a drug addict, an alcoholic, and whatnot. And at the same time,
sounds like my first girlfriend.
She passes away, and she's screwing her best friend. And after this, some married woman out of town. So he wasn't that sweet.
And then he was having the dance with favorite
everybody's talking about.
He's a bit of a boy, really, isn't he? He likes burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah, but he had a thing for also for older women, as this other story which was going on. So maybe I don't know what age.
I don't think he knows. I don't think he knew what he wanted, really, did he?
I mean, what age was Shelley at the time? She was married already, and she was out of school during the older Twin Peaks.
Well, see, I always thought Shelley was like
20,
22 or so.
Yeah.
But apparently Machen seems to put her around 18 or 19.
Yeah.
I don't really see that, because Shelley seems like someone who's more in her early 20s.
Yes, exactly. So it's not impossible that maybe after all of this, some years later, James came back to Twin Peaks after years, after his lonely tour or whatever he was psychologically doing there for himself. When he came back, maybe this happened. Shelley and James, who knows? Who knows? She likes this kind of guy, this biker guy, but
the quiet kind of guy. Yeah, but he's a bit of a bastard underneath. Yeah.
But at the same time, he's a softie. He's a soft guy. So this is what she needed after being traumatized with Leo and all of this. And Bobby was a wild boy. He wasn't a man. Bobby was a boy. She was a woman. So, and I think James taking this lonely tour through the States probably made him an adult. And maybe when he came back a year or two later, you know, he was a man and Shelley was single. So maybe this was the look. Maybe they are actually married.
But Donna was waiting for him. So we need to explain where Donna is and what was this accident he got into.
Yeah. Because he's got no visible injuries other than saying that he's just very quiet now. But
but maybe he killed Donna. Maybe he killed Donna in an accident.
So let me get this straight. In this series, Donna gets killed on James' motorcycle accident. Major Briggs gets decapitated.
Yes.
Wow. Wow. This is the tragedy amongst the beauty and poetry.
Yeah. But this is Twin Peaks. Anything is possible.
Exactly. So Alice, we do have a question. They want to know if you have your own YouTube channel. They want to follow you on videos. Do you make videos on YouTube?
I have been on YouTube, I don't know, maybe like for 10 years. Yes, I have been making videos, but it's artistic thing, and I don't actually stream or talk with anybody on the internet. But now after tonight, I maybe consider this. Who knows? Yes, I have an account. You just type in Alice Lynch, and you should find me somewhere on YouTube. If not, just go to my website, which is alicelynch.net. You will find all the links and stuff. Thank you very much.
That's what I was going to ask you earlier on, the burning question. Any relation?
No, No, I'm not related whatsoever. Although I have been online friends with Jan for quite a while. Yeah. And it's just, it's not because I am David Lynch fan. I have never been, to be honest. I am Twin Peaks fan. Therefore, I like David Lynch. But to completely answer your question, when I answer this one, when people ask, and afterwards, when I tell them my real name, then they freak out. You wanna know my real name?
Let me guess. It's Rosenflower.
No.
Let me guess.
That would be awesome, actually. No.
Is your real name Evelyn Marsh or Laura Palmer?
No.
Please, it can't be Laura Palmer.
Alice, I have to tell you that when people tuned into this podcast and they saw the blue light flickering on your face with your hairstyle, several people in the chat thought you were Laura Palmer.
Yeah, maybe I am. No. My artistic name is Alice Lynch. My real name is Alice Frost. Boom.
You're kidding me? Really?
Yes.
That's pretty cool. Frost, yeah. I like it. Lynch Frost. Yeah. This has been a Lynch Frost production.
Exactly. You can imagine my emotions when I saw this flickering logo for the first time after so many years. I was like, oh, I feel so related. Of course I'm not. No.
That's pretty good. I like that. I would never have thought of that one. You threw me there. You threw me completely. Yeah.
All right. So people online know how to find Alice here. Frank, where can people find you online?
Right. Okay. So to avoid the trolls, I'll just give my podcast address out, which is facebook.com Live from the Roadhouse Podcasts.
And briefly tell people again about your podcasts and who you've interviewed.
Oh, blimey. Well, not many recently, because I kind of like staying off. I'm staving off till the season finishes, and then I'm hoping to get some of the new actors to interview when they can actually talk about the series, because they've all signed these bloody things, you know. So when it'd be a bit more freeing, then, you know, it should be nice to be able to. I'm sure they'd be relieved to talk about it as well. So I've got some people lined up. I don't really want to say who yet, because I don't know if it's will happen or not, but I've approached several people and they seem keen to do something. So, but in terms of older interviews, Kimmy Robertson I've interviewed, and James Marshall, Chris Mulkey, and some of the people will know them from the original series, but there's sort of smaller characters, I suppose. People like Brett Vadsit, who played Joey Polson, and people like that, and
excuse me, Frank.
Annette McCarthy, who played Evelyn Marsh.
Excuse me, Frank. Where are your podcasts? Is it on Facebook only? Because I don't use Facebook.
That's the kind of the page where they're all kind of, all the links are in. It's easier to like put them all together rather than giving out. Otherwise, I have to give out an individual link for each one, and I can't remember that. It's a long. They go on. They go on SoundCloud. All the audios go on SoundCloud. That's where they're hosted. But the page just sort of gives all the so you can hit which one you want. You can scroll down and hit which one you want to listen to. It's so.
Can you say the name again? The title?
Yeah. I think it usually starts, doesn't it, Cameron, with facebook.com, doesn't it? The address.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it'd be facebook.com, and then I suppose there's a slash after that, I think.
Yeah.
And then it's all one word. Live from the Roadhouse podcasts. So it's PODCASTS.
Thank you.
And that will take you onto the page, and then you can scroll down. You have to scroll down a wee bit. But there's various things on. I've also done reviews as well. I've done reviews of Lynch's films. I covered all his 10 movies as well. That's way down the page. I actually did Inland Empire.
Did you do The Cowboy and the Frenchman?
No, I want to do that one actually. And Hotel Room. There was a few obscure ones I wanted to tackle. I never got around to it. But I did his 10 feature-length films. Even Dune. Yeah.
Which version?
God, I don't know which one it was. He didn't do a director's cut, did he? No.
Well, he didn't put his name on the director's cut, but it's still his footage. So.
Yeah, just the standard one, really, the one that came out, I suppose, in theaters, on DVD or whatever. But yeah, I never bought the film. I watched it other ways, but yeah, I did that one. All of them, really, all his feature ones. So I had a co-host called Margarita who I did with those. All the interviews I've done by myself. So there's lots of little things you could to listen to on there, which is good,
Well, thank you guys.
Some of the stuff from the festivals I've done a couple of things about the UK festivals as well.
That's great. I will check that out. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
you're welcome. Yeah.
Well, seriously, guys, thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Alice, thank you for coming on. I was hoping you'd be able to make it today since we were doing it earlier than usual.
Thank you so much.
It's an absolute.
It was
nice to be able to do it at a sensible hour.
Well,
for me anyway.
I had the day off, so it was great. So you guys know how to find Alice and Frank now. You guys know this live stream is happening on our alternative channel. This video will then be moved from this channel over to the main channel. So make sure to like the video over there and share it. Subscribe to the main channel. Ever since my live stream got deactivated, I've only gained about 100 new subscribers in the last, 20 days. And whereas before I got like 1,000 in 20 days. So the live stream being deactivated has certainly impacted my channel. So, it'd be great to get it up to 3,000 subscribers. Right now we're about 2,300. So anything you guys could do to help, that would be greatly appreciated. Make sure also to, like the Facebook page and the Twitter account and all that. And all the information is down below. But thank you guys for watching and continuing to support this channel. Greatly appreciate it. And we will see you soon. Sunday is episode 10. Laura is the one. We'll see you then. You guys take care in the meantime. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.